Hello everyone and welcome to the Leo Hobson Podcast. This is a show built around real people and real conversations. And my goal is simple: to learn from others, uncover valuable insights, and to share those stories with you completely free of charge. Now, with that being said, I've never done anything like this before. I have no background in podcasting, filmmaking, editing, or content creation. What I do have is a genuine curiosity about people, their stories, and the lessons they've learned throughout their lives. This podcast is an opportunity for me to learn, grow, and improve with every new episode. And I truly appreciate every single person who chooses to be a part of that journey. Now, if you find yourself enjoying the conversations and would like to see the channel grow, please consider subscribing and following along. It's completely free and it helps more than you might realize. To those of you who already subscribed and followed the channel, thank you. Your support means a great deal, and I promise to bring you better conversations, improve production, and the highest possible quality I can. With that being said, thank you. Thank you for being here, and please enjoy what's to come. Cool, we are on. I'm just gonna create an audio spark to sync it.
Okay.
Yeah. All right.
Okay.
Dev, thanks for coming on. I've prepared a little intro for you. So, today's guest is one of South Africa's rising stars in mixed martial arts and Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Devon Sokkas is a featherweight MMA athlete, multiple-time grappling champion, and coach at Madford MMA in Cape Town. His accomplishments include becoming the ADCC Pro Champion, ADCC National Pro Champion, PFC Featherweight Champion, UMC Featherweight Champion, and South African National MMA Champion. Beyond competition, Devon dedicates his time to developing the next generation of athletes through coaching aspiring fighters, helping them build confidence, discipline, and resilience through martial arts. In this episode, we dive into the mindset of a champion, the sacrifices required to compete at the highest level, the lessons learned from combat sports, and what it takes to pursue greatness in South Africa's growing MMA scene. Please welcome Devon Sokkas. Nice, dude.
Awesome, bro. Thank you for that introduction.
Yeah, a lot of champions there.
Yeah.
You've just come off quite a streak of competition recently.
Yeah, it's been quite a busy 3 weeks. I'd say 3 weekends back to back. We had ADCC the one weekend.
Yeah.
And then it went on to super fights in grappling industries. And then to top it all off, we spent 4 days in Joburg fighting MMA South Africa, the nationals, MMA national South African competition. So
Was that your first time fighting in Joburg?
yes, probably in MMA, yes, that's my first time fighting that side.
But how did you feel like with the altitude difference and everything?
You know what, bro, they actually hyped the altitude up quite a bit. And they told us that it's going to be quite a challenge, and the longer you're there, the worse it gets. And I found the first day, my first fight there was pretty tough.
Yeah.
I felt like perhaps because we hadn't been training for 4 days, we've been traveling. And also I had quite a tough opponent on the first day. So physically, like I felt the altitude, or could have been a combination of things at that stage. But then the second day I was like, what is everyone talking about? Doesn't feel as crazy as everyone's making it out to be. Yeah. And on top of that, we are quite fit, in our training. We make sure that we were prepared for nationals, and we made sure they were fit and strong, and technically we had our game plan going into that tournament.
So what was the difference in preparation for this? And in terms of like your local fighting?
Yeah, so I'd say obviously over the last few years, Don Madge, our coach, has been building us quite a bit, And I'd say now that he's carried us from the ground up, it's gotten to a point where we're able to focus on techniques that are a bit more high level. But I'd say that are actually considered more effective if you look at the UFC if you look around the world at the highest, UFC would obviously be the highest caliber of fighting. Look at the techniques that are the most successful there and that get you the highest win rates. You know, I think Don's made quite a good strategy of looking at the techniques that work around the world and consistently drilling that into us. So for example, for nationals, we focused a lot on wrestling and taking the guy down, and then if he gets up, taking him back down, and then finding ways to basically drain his energy and to pin him to the mat or to the canvas. And I think just drilling that for months on end leading up to nationals, it was such an effective game strategy.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's kind of what I'd say would differ in the strategy leading up to this tournament. Is just taking the techniques that work at the highest level and drilling them till we blue in the face. Just consistently drilling it day in and day out for weeks and months on end.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I guess that's the difference between Madfit's approach and other gyms. I mean, the wrestling is very, very evident in the game plan.
For sure.
And I think that favors you a lot because, I mean, your grappling is also insane. ADCC champion. Fuck. It's hard to beat you, bro. It's easy to put money on you when it comes to that stuff, and it's cool. But the MMA team from Madfit, it's been around for quite a while now, hey?
Yeah.
When did they start that program?
Yeah, I'd say the team that we've been bringing up together now, like me and my teammates, and I'd say it's been over the last 5 years, predominantly. You know, since Don has come down to run Madfit in Cape Town. It's obviously always been his gym, him and Matt Leishing. But yeah, since he made the move permanently down to Cape Town from Quan Vessels, that's when I believe he started to build the MMA team. You know, so the last 5 years, we've really been getting involved in the amateur scenes. And yeah, it's kind of just taken us from the ground up.
So before you started training at Madfit, you had some martial arts experience before?
So when I was 5 years old, my mum had me doing judo. So that was from 5 to 12 years old. And that would include local tournaments in Johannesburg.
So you were already competing?
Yeah, from a very young age. From 5 years old, I was already, probably had my first tournament around 5 or 6 years old. And then yeah, same story back then, competing in a few national competitions, regional, provincial competitions. Yeah, I got to purple belts. And then at that stage, I stopped judo because I was going into high school. Yeah. And I kind of wanted to focus on rugby and high school sports.
So you weren't really doing martial arts when you were in high school?
Not really. I'd done a little bit of boxing for a couple months here and there.
Yeah.
But,
very inconsistent though.
Inconsistent, yeah. I was mainly focused on my high school sports back then and academics.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, a bit of boxing experience, a little bit of boxing experience.
And then I remember you said to me once that you were boxing in Stellenbosch.
Yes, so after school in uni, I had about I think 3 or 4 amateur boxing fights there in Stellies, and did a bit of training there. That was probably over a 2-year period. But yeah, it was more of a fun period of training. It wasn't as serious as it's gotten now. I don't like to use the word serious, but yeah, I'd say that was more for the fun of it, you know?
Yeah.
That was kind of just, I wanted to have a few roles in university,
yeah.
You know, see what boxing was about.
And in Stellenbosch, they do the res fight nights.
They do.
How is that? How is that as a production?
Yeah, I cornered 1 or 2. I helped out because the gym I was training at then hosted the boxing fights. So I cornered it, and it was a big piss up. So obviously the Reses got together. The boys had never really done boxing. I think they trained a few weeks before the fights.
Yeah.
So it was a bit of a slugfest, you know, oaks throwing bombs and trying to crack each other, knock each other out. And all their mates on the sidelines, you know, like having a good time.
But those get quite
they get
busy.
Very rowdy.
Really?
And everyone from the Reses has, you know, a chirp or two. They like to chirp the other Res and throw some insults their way and try to get in their head and provoke them.
Yeah.
So it's actually just fascinating to watch that. Yeah.
So
to be in that atmosphere.
You fought at those?
No, I never fought. I just I cornered 1 or 2 of them.
Okay.
So yeah, I just helped out at them. I never actually competed in any of them.
Those environments must be the best, I think. When it's just like all your mates. I guess it's the same now, but I feel like the bare bones production as well is a lot more kosher.
Yeah, those guys are really running things properly now. Last time I was there, also helping out in the corner, like helping out warm up some fighters. I saw they were signing the wraps. And your tag when you go in now, they got a picture of your face on it, so can't be any identity thieves trying to sneak in.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
And yeah, I can just see, and they obviously got the warm-up areas separate for each athlete in each gym. So I can see, and also on top of that, they also have what were the interviews?
Like the press conference.
Press conferences.
Yeah, that's also really cool, hey?
I think it's very nice, for like athletes who are looking to go pro.
Yeah.
And it's kind of just getting their eye into the sports and what the sport involves. And it's nice because generally like amateur fighting has quite a bad reputation. It's known as like quite rough, quite sketchy and dodgy, and in some areas it still is, I'm sure. Like, like especially with the amateur boxing, you can go into some really, really shit places.
Yeah.
Or like some very dodgy places and have some amateur fights there, or you spend the whole day fighting there. It's disorganized, So I think to see this level of professionalism with an amateur promotion, it's actually very refreshing. It's very refreshing to see that.
Would you say it's the best promotion you've fought in so far?
You know what? I can't really say it's the best. I also, at the same time, enjoy UMC too, and PFC. They're both great. I think they've all been great promotions in Cape Town. And they all have their different kind of, their different vibe to it, different setup, different locations. But I can appreciate all of them. I think they're all doing good things for amateur sports or amateur fighting in the Western Cape. So yeah, those three promotions I'd say are definitely doing something cool in the local scene. So yeah, I can't really pick a favorite. They're all very, very, very good.
So you obviously, I know that you're making that transition to pro.
Yeah.
From an amateur setup like this, would you be featuring in another bare bones promotion?
So
or you think you're going to make the jump to pro?
Yeah. Look, we always sign up for bare bones. I've only fought in one bare bones before.
Okay.
So we don't really, I don't know, it's not my luckiest promotion. I don't usually get fights there. My coach always signs me up.
Why is that, eh?
That's a good question, bro. It's a very good question. I don't know, usually like guys will accept fights and then they pull out like a few weeks before, a few days before. It's happened a few occasions. There's been a lot of occasions of guys just turning me down flat out from the beginning.
That must be tough.
Yeah, bro. Like obviously you wanna be as active as possible. It's lovely when you go on an active streak. It's very, very enjoyable. It's nice to be busy and to consistently be working towards something. So I mean, now I'm like in this limbo phase where I know I'm gonna go pro soon, and I got a boxing fight coming up. But it's always nice, and I suppose the boxing is kind of keeping my eye in it. But I think the biggest thing is, even when nothing's coming up, you should still be training, still be consistent, like that's probably where it matters the most, is when you don't have a reason, like an immediate reason to be training. That's probably the most important time, as an athlete, to be stuck in and consistent and just showing up every day. That's so important. Your consistency, so important.
Yeah, how often do you see guys winning fights and then disappearing?
I've seen that at the pro level, seen that at amateur levels. You'll see it with the blue belts. It's called the blue belt curse. A lot of guys get their blue belts. Yeah. You don't see them for the next 4 or 5 weeks, acting like they've won a UFC World Championship title. Yeah. They just tend to disappear for a bit. And you see that at pro level too. Like guys win big fights and then they end up taking 4, 5, 6 weeks off.
That's a long time.
It's long, bro. It's very long. And I also don't think it's good for you. I think after fights, also what my coach told me is that it's actually good to get back into training as soon as possible.
Really?
You also get like post-fight dips.
Yeah.
Which I've experienced too, is after like a big streak of competition or a big competition, kind of get the blues for a few days. I think it's just a come down from adrenaline and, the highs of competition. And you get that dip, and I think the best thing to soothe that and to kind of just, improve your mood is to get back into training as soon as possible.
Yeah, that's quite common, eh?
Yeah, it happens a lot. Yeah. It really is common. Yeah.
So how have you combated that?
Yeah, so...
Has it just been getting back to training, or what What other things are you
Sure.
doing?
So after those 3 weeks, the 3 weekends of competition, it's a good example because it's the most recent.
Yeah.
I felt the blues a bit, like on the Sunday after competition. And obviously getting back, luckily I had something to work towards the next weekend. So after ADCC, I had Sunday to be my feels, Monday back in training for the next grappling fights, grappling industries, you know. Sunday had a little dip, back in training Monday. Nationals, 3-4 days of fighting, like, you can
That's a
imagine.
lot.
Well, we only fought on 2 days, but it's the whole competition's 4 days. So you're still there every day, you know, you're watching, you're still in the
Your
atmosphere.
mind is still there.
Yeah, you're getting ready to fight, like going from one day, like my ribs were quite sore the one day, had a tough fight, and I knew, okay, like next day I'm fighting again. So just the whole mental game of you have to stay in it until the competition's over. But after nationals, luckily, I got to stay in Joburg and spend time with my family. My parents live there, so that really helped. It's just being around family, you know, and just spending quality time with people that you love. It's really big. It's really, really important. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of guys in the UFC, they'll like go and fighting on these crazy benders. And I wonder what happens there, but that can't make it better, you know?
Yeah, I definitely don't think those, I wouldn't encourage that, or I wouldn't say that's a good idea. Sure, also like the same thing, obviously, you know, you have the right to go celebrate and enjoy yourself.
Of course.
By whatever means you decide to do that, that's your choice. But I think it all can add up if you don't. There's a time and place for everything, and you must have your enjoyment and you must celebrate. But like I said, time and place, you know. I think it becomes a problem when that becomes a pattern or a habit, or that continues on for a few days or a few weeks.
Your moments, eh?
Yeah, you got to make sure that, okay, like I've had my fun now, I've celebrated. It's time to get back to training and to the reason why I do this. Same thing with, like, you know, the biggest thing for me is I like to eat after big weight cuts.
Yeah.
You know me. I love my chocolate croissants.
Of course.
I can eat 3-4 of those in a day. I got no issues there. But after like a long streak of eating healthy and dieting, you know, the biggest thing for me is I'll definitely indulge in some unhealthy food. You know, lovely. Some Nugatelli cookies and chocolates and
I don't even compete and I do that.
Yeah.
So nice.
But also on that point is, I think eating badly after that, falling back into bad eating habits, that can also just make your mood dip. Of course, you know, and that's I think you must enjoy yourself afterwards. But all the unhealthy eating and I don't know, if you decide to go out and party, and if you're consistently doing that, eventually you're going to start feeling not so lacquer. So the best thing to do is to have your fun, to eat what you want, and then kind of just to immediately get back into training and get locked in onto whatever's coming up next.
What do you prefer between getting ready and anticipating a fight or post-fight? What do you prefer dealing with?
Sure. I think for me, it's always big to have purpose. So before your fights, you're obviously working towards something. You know, your mindset's on one goal, and kind of like I like to think it simplifies everything.
How so?
Well, because instead of like having your focus split on 10 different things, you kind of like have to be a bit more selfish in the sense that, okay, my focus now is on this fight. And until I've fought and until I've won this fight and walked through this fight and given it my best efforts, then this is where my focus is at. I'm going to focus on my sleep, my nutrition, my training, and my mindset, and just making sure that I show up every day in those domains. And until that's done, my focus is narrow. I've got tunnel vision.
I get that.
So and then I kind of feel like post-fights, you know what's crazy, bro, is I think after you fight, you're so excited to eat that pizza or go out with your mates and have that beer or whatever your vice is after your fights. But the crazy thing is that's more enjoyable when you're wanting it. So like when you're in camp, you're thinking about everything you're going to eat, that's more exciting in your head than when you get there.
Yeah.
So the cookie might in your head, you might be building it up and you can't wait and you think that's going to taste so great. And then you get there.
I get you.
And it actually it tastes good, but it's not as great as your mind made it out to be.
Yeah, the whole time you're just
yeah.
picturing this nice, crispy, hot pizza.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then after your fight, you know, you have 1 or 2 slices and you're already over it.
Yeah, or you've had the pizza and then you eat another pizza and then by the second time you're like, cool. Like,
2 pizzas.
yeah, you're like, I feel pretty sick now. I want to get back to training.
It's like the iron steak burgers, bro. How many of those do you think you could have after a fight?
If without the chips,
Without the chips,
I could easily eat 3 burgers in one shot.
But you're probably sick after 1.5.
You'd probably be sick, eh? Yeah. Double Wagyu patty. Those burgers. It's quite rich too. I know you love them.
Oh, I love them.
You usually eat 2 in one go.
Yeah.
With the chips, bro.
With the chips.
But that's generally when you're trying to bulk.
Yeah.
You're trying to get to, how's that going with the 100 kg? Hey, you're still trying to get
100 kg
to
lean.
100 kgs lean, eh?
Yeah.
Do you think that's a process where you kind of have to pick up weight first, like dirty bulking, and then lean out? So you bound to gain a bit of excess weight regardless.
Definitely.
But there is a more seamless process where you can kind of eat and gain muscle at the same time, surely. So it's not like you kind of, I don't know, you kind of cut out the whole gaining too much fats and less muscle. You can kind of like in a similar ratio gain weight but make it muscle mass.
Yeah, I'm definitely not doing it the right way. There's better ways to go about it.
But that is one method, is you train and you eat a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
That's what I'm trying to do. And then by summer, I'm going to just hit up my step count and go berserk with it.
Yeah.
Cut out the carbs. But I know myself.
Yeah.
I know myself.
Yeah, I know you. I know you can chow, bro. You can chow.
Yeah. So when it comes to cutting down for fights and stuff now, how is your diet changing mainly?
I try to simplify it a lot when I'm cutting weights. I'll usually start to cut my carbs quite a bit, but then I'll use my carbs around training time. So I eat carbs before training and after training, and then in between that I try to limit my carbs. So and it's very like plain, very boring, very nutritious. Like I'll boil my eggs, I won't fry it.
Yeah.
To avoid oil. I won't butter my toast. I have a bit of bread, 1 slice, 2 boiled eggs. I like oats because
cutting it down.
Exactly. Oats obviously because of the fiber keep you full for longer.
Yeah.
It's a slow release of like energy throughout the day. So,
what mistake would you say most guys you see are making when it comes to diet and stuff?
Diets.
Because you're also not eating terribly outside of your camps because you still need to perform. You know.
Yeah. I'd say the biggest mistake guys make when it comes to their diets is, it's probably like, I would say it comes down to a lack of balance. So like they're probably able to stay healthy for certain periods in a weight cut. And then because they've stayed so disciplined for so long, as soon as the weight cut's over and the fight's over, they just completely balloon and let themselves go.
Yeah.
So I think that can be a general issue is because you've been like starving yourself for so long, as soon as you over with that whole period of dieting, you just tend to overindulge. And then you pick up too much weight too soon. And then if your next opportunity rolls around sooner than later, then you're not actually prepared for it because you've been eating so much.
Yeah.
So I think the biggest thing is kind of just to stay consistent with your eating, to allow yourself your cheat meals, but to kind of be in like a range of I can eat healthy and I can also enjoy myself, but not overdo it. So if opportunities do come, I can make that weight again on short notice.
So you mainly say that Oaks aren't prepared for their next opportunity because they've gone too far in one direction.
You know what's crazy, bro, is like a lot of guys get opportunities into the UFC when a guy gets injured and they get called up on short notice. Okay. And so oftentimes like happened to Drickus got called up on short notice to the UFC. Yeah. Happened to a lot of big stars in the UFC where they got the call up like 10 days before the fights, 5 days, 6 days before the fight. Like, listen, this guy's injured. There's an opportunity. Would you like to fight on our promotion? And if that day comes and you're out of camp and you haven't been eating properly, you haven't been training because you don't have a fight lined up, you haven't been prepared, even though there's nothing to be prepared for, then you're going to miss your opportunity.
I've never thought of that.
You're going to miss your opportunity. So that's why I says you're always training and you must always be prepared in fighting. You must always be ready because you never know when your next opportunity is going to come or what's going to pop up. But best believe, like, if that opportunity comes and you've been training and you've been disciplined and you've been eating well, then that can be your opening to a bigger promotion.
Yeah.
Or that could be the day that changes your life in martial arts or as an athlete.
So you just got to stay ready.
Stay ready and stay locked in and stay married to the game and disciplined. Yeah, you can't be 1 foot in, 1 foot out. Okay, I got to fight now. Okay, now I'm not fighting, so I don't need to train. That's not how combat sports works. And I think some guys get away with it temporarily. But I think if you want to make it to the highest level in combat sports, it's not like, oh, I can train in my camps and then completely just stop and chill and do nothing. So it's got to be, consistency is key, I think, in martial arts. Is in the long run and long-term goals and long-term fruits, it's gonna come from your consistency, guaranteed. Staying locked in and staying consistent.
Yeah. Yeah, I've never really thought about that, hey, but it makes sense.
Yeah.
Because oftentimes, as you said earlier, guys are pulling out and it chops and changes so much.
Yeah, and at the same time, like the UFC, I'm sure, or like the high promotions, obviously they want to work with professionals, guys who can make the weights.
Yeah.
You know, guys who are willing to step in on short notice, guys who are hungry, because if you don't step in, then there's going to be, I promise you, 20, 30, 40 other guys who are also dying for the opportunity.
Yeah.
So when your opportunities come, you better make sure that you're ready.
But how tough do you think it is to keep that mindset though? Because, you know, you have to be so patient. I don't think a lot of people have that in them.
Yeah, look, I think the biggest thing that differentiates people that do very well in their careers, or like, I'm talking in terms of any like athletes or any career.
Outside of...
Yeah, like let's just say in general in life. I think one of the key attributes is to kind of show up on the days that you don't even want to be doing it. So you do anything, you can take anything in the world. And obviously with fighting or anything you do, I believe you should be passionate, should have a love for it, else there's no point.
Yeah.
So you're not going to get far, you're not going to enjoy it. Anything you do in life, you should, especially as a career choice, you should love A, and B, you should be very passionate. And whatever that is, guess what? You're going to be doing it every day almost. So like take any example in the world, basketball players, fighters, you know, like people that trade on the stock markets. You got to show up every day and do it.
Yeah.
It's how you're going to get results. But the difference between, I think, guys that do very well in the industries and their chosen careers is even on the days they wake up and it's cold and it's raining and they're sore and they've been training for 5 weeks nonstop or the whole year nonstop, whatever the case is, they're still, and it's 6 a.m. and they really don't want to get up and train. Even though you don't want to, you still show up and you train. And you don't miss a session. And I feel like it's also a big trait with a lot of successful fighters is you kind of got to prime your brain to getting used to doing what you don't want to do. So you can't just do things when it's easy and when it suits you and when it's beneficial and when it's fun and when you're loving it and you're having a good time. You also got to do it when you feel like shit and and it's tough and you're sore and everything is telling you not to and your body's screaming and you're aching. For me, that's when it counts the most. That's when you're supposed to show up because that's what's going to differentiate you.
But how many people want to go that distance?
That's
the question.
That's what you got to ask yourself.
You got to ask yourself.
You got to ask yourself, like, what is your why? Is your why big enough? Why are you doing this?
What's your why?
My definitely passion. Like, I've always been quite an athletic individual. I've always loved sports. Always loved moving my body. I think martial arts is just the perfect domain for that.
Yeah.
You've got so many different disciplines, you know, you've got striking, jiu-jitsu, MMA, obviously that's put all together. But for me, I really love being active most of my day. That's just improves my mood, improves my well-being, improves my health. I love the whole lifestyle of being an active person, you know? And I also believe the qualities I have and the attributes I have mentally and physically, I think it lines up nicely with martial arts. So yeah, I'm kind of just using my gifts and my abilities and my talents in the right space.
Yeah.
And it feels like I'm aligned with what I should be doing. So yeah, that's my whys. I love what I do.
Yeah.
And I love the effect it has on me. And it's also a space where I feel like I can evolve as a person. You know, it pushes my boundaries, pushes my mind, pushes me to my limits. And I love seeing how far I can go till my breaking points.
So what was it about like MMA that drew you towards it? Because you could do that with many other things. You could be a paddle player or a rugby player, or
I would argue that MMA is probably the toughest sport on the planet. Just because you're using...
And you wanted that. You wanted to go into something that was just...
I always loved, if we're going back into my why in terms of fighting, I've always loved fighting. Like as a boy, I always loved reading autobiographies of like great fighters like Mike Tyson and Muhammad Ali, and I was very big into boxing at a young age. And I kind of read those books, and I used to learn and see like how these guys lived and what inspired them, and just how great they were and their role models and who they looked up to. And and I just really, I loved the mindset behind fighting.
But is that something you just kind of stumbled upon?
Yeah, I'd say...
Or was there any external influence that got you looking for those things at that age?
My dad was a very good athlete. And I remember when his friends used to come over and I was a young boy, and, you know, they kind of used to brag to me about his achievements and how athletic he was, how strong he was. So, you know, as a boy...
You want to match that?
Yeah, you often, like, your dad's one of your first role models.
Yes.
And you look up to your dad, and he's like, he can be like your Hercules, or whatever you want to frame it as, you know, like a form of superhero for you.
Yeah.
I'm sure most young boys would agree.
1,000%.
Yeah.
1,000%.
So just hearing how strong he was and how athletic, and, you know, how good he was at fighting in terms of boxing, and I'm sure a few street fights back then in Joburg in the 80s, you know, it got pretty rough out there. But just kind of hearing that also definitely inspired me to kind of follow in those footsteps of athleticism and strength.
So was fighting something he introduced to you, or did you manage to find it by yourself?
Well, look, like I said, my mom had me doing judo, and my parents had me in judo from 5 years old.
Of course.
So you consider that the first martial arts. And then I think also there's something about doing martial arts at a very young age that your brain is very plastic, obviously. So there's a lot of room for neuroplasticity and change in the brain. And I find that the advantage there is when you are competing at such a young age, your brain is very malleable. So because I've already been on stages where there's a lot of people watching, and you're competing in a martial arts, and it's one-on-one, and you're in that atmosphere of a fighting atmosphere, a competitive atmosphere, I feel like those adaptations that made to my brain at a young age has kind of helped me in my current circumstances with training and competing. And I still get those nerves when it comes to competition, and you still get the fear before fights.
Yeah.
But it's like so familiar to me because I've done it so many times in my life. So so I'd say that's kind of that was my first introduction to fighting and martial arts, is obviously competing and doing judo from a very, very young age.
I remember we've had chats about like temperament and composure when it comes to competing. And, you know, some people don't have it, which is the truth, it's a reality, and some people do. What do you think that temperament, BMT, if you will, is something that you can train or learn, or is it unfortunate that you just have to have it?
Sure.
If someone doesn't have it but they want it and they want to develop it.
Yeah, so that's such a good question. That is such a good question. So BMT, obviously referring to big match temperaments.
Yes,
so showing up under the bright lights, like got spectators watching you, it's pressure on you, like it's not the gym environments, it's not a competitive environment. I can speak from my personal experience that I believe being exposed to so many sports and martial arts at a young age. Even we can take judo away. I still played rugby as a boy. You know, I played cricket, I played every sport, swimming, water polo, you name it, I played it. You know, my mom and my parents, my dad, luckily exposed me to a lot of sports as a young boy, soccer, all of that. So I think it's very, for me personally, my experiences in my youth days has definitely contributed to my ability to perform under the bright lights and in high pressure situations where there's a crowd watching and it's at a high level, professional level in grappling. And you kind of, that's the beauty, a little side note, the beauty about fighting, and also what's so grueling and crazy is it's literally like, it's not a team sport, it's two people exposed, anything can happen. You're literally exposing yourself and putting yourself at risk in front of an audience, which I kind of take my hat off to every fighter who can get in the cage or the ring or on the mats and do that. It's because if you think about how crazy that is, you know, to literally expose yourself like that in front of a crowd where you could get knocked out or you could get thrown on your back or dumped on your head, or
you could be turned into a highlight reel that Monday.
In a second shit can happen.
Yeah, I hate that. I don't like that.
So yeah, but just to finish answering your question is, for me, I believe BMT, I think maybe I would argue that if you look at the top competitors in the world, you know, in the Olympics, like they've all been doing it from a very young age. A lot of them, I'd say majority of champions. You get exceptions, you get freaks of nature. Anthony Joshua only started boxing at 18, won the Olympic gold medal within 4 or 5 years. So I could be wrong, but I think that's the timeline. So you do get some freaks of nature, but I think in general, if you have been doing and exposed to sports at a very young age, then that's going to add to your ability to perform under the bright lights and your BMT, your level, your temperaments and your composure. I would say that kids that are exposed to no sports or are not athletic or, you know, have had no exposure from a young age, I think their chances of performing and having a calm temperament at a high level is way less likely than kids who have been exposed to some forms of sports and activity and at least performed in front of a crowd. Small, big, doesn't really matter. But yeah, I just had that form of exposure.
And how big is preparation for that as well?
Preparation for fighting or
yeah,
it's massive, bro. Like I think everything we do in training every day around the year is preparation. So preparation, you can break preparation down to the smallest things you do at home, like your eating habits and your sleeping habits. And then it goes down to your time in the gym every day and, you know, working on technique and your skill development. And I think all of that adds up. And sometimes, you know, you might have years where you might only get 2 or 3 competitions, or you might be inactive. But everything around that and all the training day in and day out, that's considered your preparation. And that's a massive, probably the biggest part of leading up to your fights and your camps is your preparation.
Yeah.
And at the same time, you don't want to get to that point where you're about to walk into a cage and you're not confident because you think you haven't put in all the work that you could have. Because your confidence comes from preparation. It's how much you put in. How much you put in is what you'll get out.
So what does your typical training week look like?
Yeah, so from a schedule perspective, so Monday it should be S&C in the morning, strength and conditioning. Then it goes on to MMA in the afternoon and Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu after that, Tuesday's an MMA and a BJJ class. Then Wednesday's the same as Monday. Wednesday would be S&C in the morning, MMA in the morning too, and then boxing sparring in the afternoon. And then Thursday, MMA and Jiu-Jitsu. Friday, strength and conditioning. Saturday morning sparring and open mats.
Yo.
So that's the schedule.
That's a heavy week, eh?
Yeah, it's busy, bro. It's a busy
heavy week.
Yeah, it's busy.
That's a very good program though as well. That's Madfit's program, obviously.
Yeah.
I do know that.
Yeah.
And it's a very healthy one. How would you say, because you've trained at other gyms as well, how would you say the training quality, or how do you think that the MMA scene training wise, coaching wise is outside of Madfit, for example, in South Africa in general?
I think you got a few gyms that are very high level. You know, from my experience, I've done a bit of training at Quan Vessels. That's obviously our brother gym. You know, those are founders.
Yeah.
So, and that's under Richie Kwan and Chef Vessels.
Yeah.
And obviously the quality of training and coaching there is world class too. It's at such a high level. And I think it just shows the quality of, you know, where we come from. And so I'd say I can't really speak about other gyms. I'm not too sure.
Yeah.
But I know from our lineage, I think we got a very strong foundation and a very good base. And top quality coaching under the Cabrinha system.
Yeah.
World class black belts, high quality jiu-jitsu, MMA. So I'd say. But then again, if you look at the country nationwide, I'd say MMA is a very fast growing sport.
Yeah, it's become so popular. Hey?
Yeah, so popular, bro. Especially like with Drickus winning the title.
So is jiu-jitsu. Jiu-jitsu is also getting so big.
It is getting big. It is. I think a lot of guys are really, like you can also attest to this, is once you start training BJJ, you know, you kind of fall in love with it.
Yeah.
The community, the sport, it's just really, exciting. And it becomes a passion and a part of your everyday living. So I'd say MMA and Jiu-Jitsu in the country has been growing. And I think as the sport grows, you know, the techniques will grow, the expertise will grow, coaching will grow. So I think as a country, we're probably in a very good space when it comes to martial arts and producing champions and getting to high levels.
Of course, because we've had obviously the likes of Don take it all the way.
Yeah.
And then now we've also had Drickus, which has also put South Africa on the map.
Big time, bro. Yeah, I think like guys like Don and Drickus and, you know, guys who have made it through the EFC into the big leagues like the UFC and the PFL and the 1FC, like they're kind of paving the way for the rest of the young athletes and fighters in this country that are trying to make it onto a big stage.
Yeah.
So if it wasn't for those guys, then I suppose a lot of us wouldn't think that it's possible. Yeah. But they've made it seem possible, you know, and achievable. So
yeah, it's really cool. It's really cool to see that it's possible.
Yeah.
And you work very closely to that as well, which makes a big difference.
For sure. I also believe that, you know, how you're supposed to get to that top level, if you're training with someone who hasn't really been to the top level yet.
I get that.
And Don's obviously been to the top level.
Yeah.
You know, he's been to the highest level there is in fighting. So I think, you know, to have someone like that guiding your career and coaching you on a day-to-day basis, I feel very lucky and I feel, very grateful for that.
Yeah.
I wouldn't really have anyone else in my corner. So that's, just to be exposed to that level of knowledge and expertise and experience, I think that can really carry you places. I believe it will.
And how are you enjoying coaching yourself?
I love it. I really enjoy it. I feel like when it comes to coaching, you're also learning because by teaching it, at the same time, you're also you're going over your techniques.
Yeah, and, you're reinforcing what you know.
You're revising what you know.
Yeah.
You're revising what you know. Sometimes you'll coach and someone might bring up a point like, okay, but what happens if you do it like in this way?
Yeah. And
that kind of forces you to go back to the drawing board.
How often does that happen?
Yeah, it happens, bro. It happens, like someone will end up in a different type of a configuration with their choke and they'll ask me surely is this not more effective, or because of the length of my arms, this feels like I could finish the choke a bit quicker or more effectively. And that's just an example, and that kind of forces me to go back to my coach and to reinforce my techniques. And even when it comes to fundamentals, I coach fundamentals and just the small details that go into the most basic moves. You know, it's actually there's so many small fine details that you don't think of at a high level because you kind of just do the move without thinking step by step. But now when you have to teach it, you kind of have to know the technique step by step. You know?
I remember one of the best things you've ever said to me when I started training jiu-jitsu was it takes 2 lifetimes to fully learn jiu-jitsu. If that.
Yeah.
If that.
I don't think you can ever learn jiu-jitsu in a lifetime, bro. that's the beauty of the sport is why would you want to do a sport that you can learn
and finish and complete?
Yeah, like let's say like you do a martial arts, but you know the whole martial art within 5 years. For me personally, bro, that wouldn't be like an enjoyable experience.
Yeah.
I wouldn't enjoy doing that. I would enjoy like, the beauty about jiu-jitsu is it's always evolving, it's always changing, it's always new techniques coming in, old techniques that are falling away, becoming obsolete. And that's a sport and a martial art that you can spend your whole life learning, and you know, by the time the Grim Reaper comes, you still probably won't
Have all the answers.
You won't. You'll never have learned the full sport of jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
And I love that, bro, because you're always learning.
I was having so I had another guest on here, Santhia.
Yeah.
And we were actually talking about like the success rates in jiu-jitsu. So how 10% of white belts, I'm going to be repeating myself, get to blue belt, and 10% of blue belts become purple belts. And then famously, if you become a purple belt, you're more likely to become a black belt, but it's not guaranteed.
Yeah.
How, when you're teaching fundamentals and the beginners now, obviously they're white belts, but how many people do you see coming in and then disappearing? How true is that? Are those numbers in your perspective?
Yeah, I think you get guys that come in and they try it out and they progress through the beginners class and then they get into the all levels, and some tend to stick around, some don't, you know. I think in the beginning, that's probably going to be the biggest sign is
the beginner trial period.
Yeah, I'd say you're probably your first year in jiu-jitsu. That's probably where you'll see, where I've seen guys either stick around or they don't. You know, some guys come in for a few months, disappear, come back inconsistently. Some guys really take to it and they stick around, and that's their lifetime hobby. And that's what they found. You know, it just depends on the person. But I'd say like people that do tend to stick around for a couple months probably spend their whole lives doing it. You know, some of them like, yeah, they just find that it's for them and they enjoy the community, and they're just, they're keen to kind of continue learning. So I'd say I can't give you the exact figures. I'd say like you definitely get quite a few people that come and go, that are in and out inconsistently. Some go, some come, some never come back.
Yeah, because I think when I did my beginner program, there was like at least 10 of us looking for your water.
Yeah, it's true. It's cool.
Where is it?
It's okay.
It's fine. There were at least like 10, 12 different people that I met doing that. And to this day, it's probably just me.
Yeah.
Considering other guys still train, there's like probably 2 other guys I know that still train, but no longer at our gym.
So you're saying from when you were
From my beginner group.
Really?
I think I'm the only one that's still around.
Really? That's so interesting.
Because I was with Daniel, I was with Baby Max.
Yeah.
Those were the 2 guys. I think Alona.
Okay.
But I think Alona graduated after me.
Okay.
Yeah.
But a lot of the other guys just kind of disappeared.
Bro, it's
you don't see them
crazy.
Anymore. That is
and
crazy.
I always like bump into these guys like here and there, and it's like, dude, like what you doing? It's like, yeah, I'm doing this, but I need to take some time off and I'm coming back.
Oh, they all say that.
They all say that.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
I'm coming back.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I had to go away for work. But
Yeah.
I'm coming back. I'm back now, I'm coming back. But the guys that are very like consistent, which is cool. But you say like you've also seen guys get their blue belts and then disappear. So did that happen to you?
I think no, that didn't happen. So I got my blue belts, and that grading, I graded for my blue belt. And I remember after the last person, Don, after I rolled with Don, rolled with Wade before that, my body that day, it felt like I'd gone through like 10 ADCCs in a day. I felt so wrecked. Like I think it could have been an hour and a half of rolling.
Yeah.
And I just remember feeling my body like, the days after I was in the shower, and you know when you get like what's it called, like grazes?
Yes.
Mat burns, carpet burns.
Yes, from the gi.
Yeah, or like just from the mats in general, or from the gi too.
Yeah.
But I had like carpet burns on my face and my feet, and I remember standing in the shower after my grading, and I felt like I earned that blue belt because everything was on fire, bro.
Yeah.
I never felt like I'd had to fight for something like that in my entire life. But after that, I didn't drop off. The weekend after, so I took the week off, and the next weekend I had my first blue belt competition, AJP.
Was it that soon after?
Yeah, the weekend after, and I ended up taking double gold that weekend.
Dude.
So yeah,
Come on.
That was my first blue belt competition, and obviously took the whole week off because I was in so much pain.
Dude.
And I was competing that Saturday, so I was like, yeah, let me take a break and try recover, and then go and compete.
And then, can you explain to me how your purple belt came about, and explain to me how you felt getting it and the difference to your blue belt experience?
Yeah, sure. So I was a blue belt for about a year before my purple belt came, and I was at a stage where I think I just had an MMA fights, bare bones fights. It's probably my third fights, and then the month after, ADCC Africa was coming about. So that was the biggest ADCC of the year. So I was a 2-stripe blue belt at that stage. It'd been been close almost, it's been under a year at that stage, probably like 10 months that I've had my blue belts. And I just asked my coach, I saw like a few of the guys were going pro, and I said to my coach, I said, would you recommend I go pro? Because if I want to do MMA, it's not so much about winning and losing. Obviously you want to win in jiu-jitsu and grappling, but I thought like if I want to do MMA, then surely I should be wanting to face the best guys in grappling too. Like if I'm not just trying to get a medal, surely I'd want to face the best in the country and see where my level's at.
Yeah.
You know, I wanted to kind of get a measure of where I was in terms of my grappling skill and ability. So and I just remember that camp, you know, like specifically in the MMA classes, we were doing so much wrestling almost every day. And then Thursdays we'd do Greco-Roman wrestling. And we'd have tough rounds. And I'd be wrestling with big boys. Like Margo's, you know, is a
monster.
Yeah, he's a monster. I think 85 kgs, a bit bigger. So
he looks like he weighs 100, lean.
Yeah, huge, massive. And then Don would also be wrestling with us and messing us all up. And and back then we just wrestled, bro. And I think that wrestling leading up to that ADCC did wonders for my game plan. And anyways, we did that for weeks on end. You know, like go home after wrestling that weekend, you feel so sore and aching. But I mean, it all played such a big role. And ADCC came around, and I had quite a good tournament. I won every fight by points. Took a gold medal. That was my pro debut. And then on that Monday, Don gave me my purple belts. So that was kind of the lead up, and that's what kind of, I would say, got my purple belts, was winning my pro debut at ADCC.
Yeah.
And that was the biggest. Also, that ADCC was on, it was on UFC Fight Pass. As obviously the year-end one's always the biggest one. So it's also cool to win on my pro debut on UFC Fight Pass. And then obviously the cherry on top was the purple belts. So that was the lead up, and that's kind of how everything played out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And in competition, you've taken some losses.
Yeah.
What were the biggest takeaways for you when you experienced a loss?
Sure. That's a great question too. So the biggest takeaway for me when it comes to losing is, I think first, honestly looking at yourself and saying, did I put in all the work I could have for this? Did I do everything in my power to make sure that I showed up as the best version of myself? If you can check that box, great. If you can't check that box, ask yourself why you fell short. Why did you lose that? You know, you got to look at things and analyze and say, what made me fall short in this competition or in this fight or whatever the case is. And the next takeaway is, you know, whether you win or you lose, once again, why are you doing this? And is it because you want to win? Because then that's the wrong reason. Obviously, you should want to win. I'm not saying you should do anything and not have the goal of winning, but that shouldn't be the ultimate goal. The ultimate goal should be, for me, is because I love doing it, and I enjoy the evolution, and I really want to. My focus is getting as good as I can, being the best version of what I can be in martial arts, and constantly adapting and growing and asking questions and learning and evolving. Being the best version I can be. So I would say the biggest piece of advice is not to let a loss get to your head. Use it as a feedback as to why you lost and what you can do better. And then also just to understand, fall back on your reasons as to why you do this, and understand that you're doing this for passion and, because you love it. And kind of just learn from that and move forward and not linger on it. You're gonna win in life. You're gonna lose in life. You can't hold on to that. You can't define yourself by that. You got to understand that that's a part of life, and you got to kind of look at it and see, how can I learn from this? How can I be better? So
that teaches you a lot, and that translates into life. It's really important to take those skills and apply it to your life.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You can have your good days and your bad days. Not every day can be a good day. No. Not everything in life you're going to do is going to succeed. It's how you handle the losses and how you handle the victory too. How are you going to handle it when you win?
Yeah, humility is important, eh?
It's massive, bro. It's very, very important. I think if you let anything get to your head when it comes to winning, I think it's just going to kind of backfire on you. I really believe it, because I think if you allow things to get into your head and make you think you're better than you are, or kind of give you the superiority, that's going to kind of affect your training, and I think in the long run it's just going to mess you up. Your relationships, your training. I don't think it's a healthy thing to have an ego from winning. I think it needs to come from a more grounded place. So
because that's obviously gonna. Because if you have an ego, now you go and lose, you could be down for the count for indefinitely, sometimes, I don't know.
Look, I think you need an ego of some sorts in martial arts, but not in the way, I'm not saying you have to be egotistical, but you have to have belief and, obviously a strong desire to do well, because it's a very competitive sport. But if you let things get to your head, especially small victories, then how are you going to be able to handle the bigger victories? If you're letting local competitions and victories, or victories in amateur fights get to your head, what's going to happen if you make it into the UFC and you're winning on a high level, or you get onto an international platform? How are you going to be able to handle the victories and the losses on those platforms? So I think it's good training ground, and that's what the amateurs is for, is to make these mistakes and to balance your ego and to, find that grounded place in yourself where, okay, now if I decide to step into pro, I'm well equipped to do so.
How excited are you going into the professional space in MMA? Because you're going to go feature at the EFC now, hey?
So we haven't signed any contracts yet.
Okay. But it's in the pipeline.
Yeah, look, I don't know just yet where we're going to sign or who we're going to sign with.
Okay.
Look, that's all still in discussion.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not, I can't really fill you in because I'm not too sure yet what my next step is, but it's definitely going to be pro MMA. I'm very excited. There's obviously I would say there's pressure on myself. I'm trying to deal with it, so I'm trying to reframe it. But of course I want to do well,
Of course.
And I want to start making a strong statement early on and winning my fights, in good fashion. Like Jason McKay. He's one of our teammates, and he's just made his break into the EFC, and he's just come off 2 round 1 knockouts, and he's doing flipping phenomenal. He's had 2 big knockouts in round 1.
Crazy, yeah.
And you got guys like that in our team already paving the way. We've just gone pro, so kind of that inspires me that I also, as I break into the pro scene, I also want to be making statements like that and doing very well. And and coming out
put on a proper
put on a big show and
proper show.
Obviously, like your focus is you want to win your fights. That's your priority, and you're going to do whatever you need to win your fights. But you want to do it in fashion for sure. So I'm grateful for guys like that who kind of also like pave the way, and they're making a big impact early on in the pro scene, because it does inspire you.
So obviously when you start entering that space, you want to make it a success. What would you say your definition of success is?
Sure. It's an interesting question.
Because I don't think it's just having round one knockouts to you.
No, it's not.
I don't think it is.
Yeah. I would say success is, evolving into the best fighter you could be on the competitive scene. So, I think you want to get to that stage where you're well equipped and you're competent and you've got good BMT, and I think when the hard times come in fights, you don't shy away. So I think that part of your character development, that's a big definition of success for me, is when hard moments come in fights, are you going to shy away or are you going to push through those hard moments? Like those make or break moments, are you going to show up in fights?
Yeah.
So I think that's massive, bros. You can't just be like dominating and like doing well when you're winning. Like, what's going to happen in those moments, when things aren't going your way?
Yeah.
That's a big definition of success for me in fighting, is how are you going to handle those moments? What are you going to do when those moments come of adversity, in the cage, or whatever, things aren't swinging your way for that period of the fights. And then obviously success in the broader sense of things is, how far can you take it?
Yeah.
And through that, how many people can you inspire? How many people can you instill confidence in and help their martial arts improve, and almost be like a cornerstone, for the martial arts community, or like your community, I think, I'd say character development is probably my definition of success. Is who you're going to become, how's this going to shape you, how far you're going to take it, how capable are you to handle adversity, and those are kind of the categories I'd put success in.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, and also, and on top of that is, how can you add impact and value to other people in your community, in the martial arts scene, where and how do you add value?
How do you see yourself adding value?
And using your success, or like how far you make it, also as a channel to add more and more value. Yeah, so it's a lifelong journey.
How do you see yourself looking to like, what are some projects you'd like to kind of take on?
Sure. Yeah. So I would love to. There's a few things I'd like to do. Obviously, I'd like to coach like the youth.
Yeah.
I'd love to maybe get into schools and get kids into jiu-jitsu, and I believe it's very effective when it comes to like learning emotional regulation.
Yeah. And
just kind of being, like I said, being in a competitive environment at such a young age is so healthy for a young mind. And even like they say, I remember seeing on Joe Rogan's podcast, is he even said that even for bullies, bro, like bullies in schools, and it's actually counterintuitive, but putting them in martial arts would actually help them regulate and would make them better people, would make them less likely to want to harm and hurt other kids. So I think adding value, also potentially bringing martial arts to kids who don't have the means to train martial arts, making it accessible for them. That would also be like a long-term vision of mine, is to kind of integrate it into communities that don't have the means to do it, or they don't have the resources. There's a few ideas and projects I would love to implement.
That would solve a lot of problems, eh?
Yeah, I'd also like, it would also be nice to kind of change this whole stigma around cage fighting and martial arts, that it's this sport where it's violent and bloody and it's just about fucking each other up and hurting your opponents. Like, that's not what it's about, you know? I think it runs a lot deeper than that. And I think when people realize that it comes down to a lot of discipline and a lot of, what's the word, bro? When you specialize. It's like you specialize in different art forms, a lot of technique. Like, it's not just rolling on the streets or like trying to mess each other up. So much that goes behind training and prepping and the mental side.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'd also like to bring awareness, you know, about that to just
that MMA fighters aren't these bad guys.
Not these like terrible guys who are violence and just want to mess people up and they just want to literally like fuck other people up. It's not what it's about. It's actually like that's probably the last thing. It's not about that at all. You know, it's more about, for me, it's more about my evolution.
Yeah, that's brilliant.
As a person, and a fighter.
That's brilliant. And
how good I can get, you know, and how I can evolve my skill sets.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then also how I can add value by becoming that version of myself. It's all about your own evolution and how it shapes you.
Yeah. I really dig that. I think people need to get more awareness, and I think we need to see more people getting involved. As I said now, it would solve a lot of problems. A lot of people would realize that they actually can't fight, and maybe they shouldn't go and start bar fights and go raid, you know, shout at other people in traffic.
Yeah.
Because obviously, once you trained, you realize you don't need to be doing any of that, because you know what you can do to someone and you know the repercussions for that.
100%.
A lot of people don't understand how to control their bodies, and they end up making huge mistakes, getting themselves locked up for accidentally killing someone, stuff like that. And obviously, I think it's so important to have, you know, women learning self-defense for obvious reasons. So those are those are incredible projects, and I think a lot of parents would be very satisfied knowing that their children has the means to defend themselves, to control the situation, and to de-escalate it if it needs to go that way.
Definitely, yeah. I'd say that it's literally one of the most healthy activities you can do as a child is definitely be exposed to martial arts.
Yeah.
For those reasons, you know, de-escalating, being equipped if something does happen, having that confidence to know that something does happen, that you're able to defend yourself, and also just having that knowledge as a parent that your kid is, he's capable of something that's happened. You know, he can look after himself. So I'm sure that would give a lot of parents peace of mind.
Yeah.
It would definitely give me peace of mind when I have kids one day. So,
how would you say you were treated differently to others because you knew how to defend yourself in school and stuff? Once people kind of...
See, in school I was never really known as like
a violent guy.
Or like a guy that trained martial arts.
But I guess.
In uni, I'd say when people knew I was boxing, for sure there's that added elements of I'd say respect and at the same time intrigue too. People are very like intrigued about your martial arts and you know, like what goes into it and you know, how strong you are and if you really are capable of defending yourself. And it adds an element of intrigue, for sure.
But you haven't felt people try to come test that, you know, test that theory? Or you have?
Not that I can think, not really.
Yeah.
Not really. I'm sure you of course you get people that I'm sure would try.
Yeah, I have. I mean, I've had friends at Braz, they want to wrestle now. And listen, I'm by no means like a superstar, but I think the common man, and if he's untrained, I like my chances. But you know, you have your friends, they want to come try you out and feel it out a little bit.
I suppose it's the same as us, eh? Like, we want to roll, like, let's talk in terms of jiu-jitsu. You would love to roll with high-level jiu-jitsu athletes.
True.
Because you want to see, like, you know they're good, you know they're capable, but you want to experience how good they really are. Do you know what I mean? Like, if you got the privilege of rolling with a world champion you probably wouldn't be able to do anything, but the experience itself would
It's awesome.
be amazing, even though you'd get cooked.
I find it so funny when guys don't train and they come for a class, and maybe they're just naturally gifted and they don't get like super fucked up in like their first round.
Yeah.
I love like because obviously there's a fitness element to it. If you're not doing this thing 10 rounds regularly, you won't be able to keep up. It takes a lot.
Yeah.
But, you know, some people can have a very big misconception about the sport, for example, because they come there, they're big, they can explode out of movements, and they don't really get it. But then you match them up with and you know, even if let's say it's with a high level guy, they survive for a little bit. Maybe they don't get subbed. They get subbed like 4 times in a 5-minute round instead of 8 or 9, which is very easy to do if you're a high level guy. They can see that as a huge win.
Yeah.
But there's a misconception then because they think that the sport's a joke.
Yeah. I think there's so many accounts or stories of big white belts or big guys trying out jiu-jitsu, and then they kind
Those
of
are the best.
Yeah, and then they kind of end up leaving and giving their accounts of how they came in like thinking they're athletic and strong guys because they played like rugby or American football or whatever the sport was, and you know, they're naturally athletic. And they think that in their heads they're quite fit and they're quite strong and capable, and then they'll leave the class, you know, being absolutely demolished. And I'm not talking demolished like this guy's trying to hurt you, because jiu-jitsu practitioners aren't the type to try and hurt you. They're not trying to like cause you pain, and they're not trying to cause damage, but they are dominating you in terms of technique and being able to control you. Like, that's the crazy thing, is a lot of these big guys will walk in and they'll think because of their size and their strength and their athleticism that they can take on, you know, guys their size and smaller guys. And then you get these smaller guys with more technique and knowledge, and they're able to submit and control these big boys. And isn't that the foundation of a martial arts? Is a martial art should be that if you compete or you get into an altercation with someone who isn't trained, no matter their size, obviously size and strength does play a role, of course it does, but in the general consensus, if you have martial arts experience, you should be able to apply it against someone who doesn't have martial arts experience.
Yeah, definitely.
And be successful.
100%.
So else then what's the point of training martial arts? So obviously, like in that context, that's a big factor. And that's the thing, and that's why jiu-jitsu has been proven so effective, is that you look at the Gracies, and I think it was Pride 1, first UFC, how they were able to use their techniques to submit and control bigger guys in different martial arts. That's exactly the point. Yeah. That's why it becomes, I think, such a sobering realization to a lot of these newcomers who try BJJ and think that they can fight or think that they are tough enough because they wrestled their brothers at the Briar.
Yeah.
You know, or like whatever the case is. And then, you know, that's a sobering realization that, okay, flip. My strength and my athleticism doesn't actually matter in this environment. There's guys that are half my size that can submit me and control me.
It's so humbling.
It's humbling.
Especially when you come into your first class and there's a girl there because some of the girls are fucking good. Some chicks are really good. Yeah. Really good. And they'll fuck you up easily. And for me, I'm not ashamed to say I was quite blown away by it. To have like a girl genuine, like it reaches a point where you actually genuinely trying to work out of positions and escape, but you can't do anything. Hey, yeah, I think it's brilliant.
Yeah, it can happen. That shows. That's exactly what you want.
It's full. Yeah,
that's exactly what you want, because then you know, okay, what I'm learning and who I'm learning under, this shit works.
Yeah,
this shit clearly works. If this lady can do it to me, or this guy who's smaller than me can do it to me, then the technique is foolproof and it's legitimate.
Yeah.
And you see all these guys on like social media training all these flimsy martial arts, and it's obviously quite a laugh, because surely what you train, you want it to be effective in a real life scenario. You want to know that what you're doing is working. You want to be living in like a dreamland where you think like if you press some guy's pressure points, he's going to pass out, bro. Like,
Yeah.
unrealistic, completely unrealistic. I don't know who would want to do that or why you'd want to do that.
Been seeing those ads for Tai Chi.
Fuck, so funny, bro. Is it Tai Chi, eh? Is that what it is?
My dad actually spoke to me about it. I'm like, Dad, no, that's AI. He goes, fuck. He was like, I'm going to start doing Tai Chi. That was awesome. I had such a good laugh with him. I was like, no, Dad, that's like an AI dude. Because it's like an Asian guy and he looks fucking good for his age.
Yeah.
Which is so weird to say about an AI image.
Yeah.
Crazy. It's so fascinating to me.
Fuck, that's so funny, bro.
My dad was like, yeah, dude, I'm going to start doing Tai Chi. Your mom and I are thinking about it.
Did you tell him to do BJJ?
Yeah. He's come and seen a class.
I know, I remember. He came.
Yeah. I definitely...
That's when you got put to sleep that day, eh?
Yeah. So for those watching, so it was my first time... So it was my dad's first time watching me roll. Yeah, and I asked Don, would it be okay if my dad came to watch a class? Because my dad always watched my sports growing up, which I'm very grateful for. So he came, Don said, cool, no, we'll put up a chair for him. Dad comes, and then eventually I managed to get around with Don. And I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna like impress my dad. You know, I'm gonna show him that, you know, your son can match up to a black belt.
Yeah.
And I guess I was at that stage more inexperienced than I am now. So anyways, so, you know when you're a spazzy white belt. But I don't know what Don did. I think I tried to get him in a guillotine. And when I sat back on it, he came around into a Von Fluke choke. So basically, when you have the guillotine and they jump their body across, you should let go because you won't finish them. But my arm was stuck there, and Don kind of had he almost was driving his like body into the arm to keep it there. And then he wrapped my own neck up. And bro, within I couldn't free my arms to tap. And by the time I did, and I was trying to tap Don, and I literally just passed out.
Yo. Jeez.
Yeah, and I want to get Don on the podcast and ask him about the Shadow Realm.
Yes.
Because I asked him, I said, Don, what just happened? He goes, his literal words to me, he goes, sitting there, cross-legged, so nonchalant. He's like, I took it to the Shadow Realm. That's what happened. Man.
As he does, eh?
So I don't think my dad will be doing jiu-jitsu.
Yeah, okay. Not for him, eh?
Not for him.
Tai Chi though, maybe Tai Chi.
Maybe Tai Chi.
Sure.
Maybe. Yeah. So we are approaching the end. And there's a couple of things I first want to ask you here, and then I have a question that's been left for you from the previous guest.
Okay.
Which I'm gonna have to cut. We'll just keep the cameras rolling. I just need you, it's on my phone.
Okay.
I don't have it here.
Okay.
But what legacy do you want to leave in the South African MMA space?
Sure. Yeah, I want to be an athlete that gave it his all and showed up consistently. And in terms of legacy, yes, that's such a good question. Yeah, I want to say like there must be an element of inspiration to it for sure. But I want to be, someone who's been able to reach the peaks of my abilities and my capabilities in martial arts. And by doing that, by evolving to the best of my abilities, be in a space where I can also add value to my community and to other people by enhancing their martial arts abilities. At the same time, in terms of legacy, I'd also like to take this, to, as far as I can go. I'd love to break into the UFC, and just make it as far as I can on an international platform like that. UFC, PFL, 1FC. I got my eyes on the UFC. That would be great. I know it's still early days.
Yeah.
But it's good to have a goal and it's good to have something that you're working towards. So yeah, and then in terms of legacy, just a fighter that's, has got a really big dog in him, and that's not going to quit. It's going to keep pushing and persevering and finding ways to win. And just being humble in my craft and disciplined in my craft and very capable and competent. And then using that to add value to my community.
No.
So that's I want to succeed and make it as far as I can go. And then pretty much I'd say that's kind of the legacy I want to leave behind. Yeah. Value driven and success driven.
I like that.
Yeah.
I like that. I'm just gonna quickly stand up and get the question. Oh wait, it's on. We have like a closing tradition on the podcast where the previous guest leaves a question with me, not knowing who the next person will be, and then you'll be expected to do the same outside of the show. So your question was, if there was a capsule, a time machine kind of a capsule that would only be opened in 100 years' time, what would you put in? What would you put inside of it for when it reopens again in 100 years?
Who's going to open it?
Let's just say...
Who gets to see what goes in my time capsule?
Let's just say the world. Let's just say it's done publicly in front of the world.
Okay.
In Times Square.
Yeah, I'd probably leave a video recording just outlining my most important lessons, or my things that I've learned in life that are my most valuable teachers and lessons. Probably leave a video recording. Yeah.
Amazing. Well, Dev, thank you for coming on. This was a great episode. Where can people find you if they want to get in touch with you?
Yeah, you can find me on social media, on Instagram, at Devon Sokkas, or at Madfit MMA.
Amazing. Thank you.
Thanks, bro.